Each belongs to a distinct and discrete sphere of language. Now, there's a kernel of truth to this approach. There are differences in religious and scientific language. The language of religion is always tinged with emotion in a way that science is not. Religion is filled with symbols that speak to us on a variety of levels. But on the whole, there are serious problems with this view. It's difficult to see how religion could provide us with comfort and encouragement if we accepted everything that science tells us about reality. Facts and feelings are not entirely separate. We can't decide to feel a certain way about things if the facts completely contradict it. Just consider, for example, the picture that contemporary science gives us of the future. Here's a scientific forecast of the future of the universe. The second law of thermodynamics affirms that in a closed system, energy flows in only one direction, from hot to cold, not the reverse. If the Big Bang back at the beginning was the hottest moment in the history of the cosmos, and if the universe is open and expanding without limit, then the future we look forward to is one of increased entropy, of dissipation into equilibrium. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that the universe is destined to freeze itself out of existence. If, on the other hand, the universe is closed and finite, then gravity will cause it to recollapse into another dense fireball, and it will explode again. So, either way, the present cosmos will come to an end. Whether freeze or fry, the future of life in our universe is not endless. Like individual sentient beings, the cosmos as a whole is destined for death. This is the picture of the future by physical cosmologists. Now, Big Bang or Big Crunch, freeze or fry, humanity is doomed. So there's no basis in science for affirming a glowing human prospect, and those who engage in that are simply involved in flights of fantasy. Well, with a forecast like this, it's understandable that people may prefer an alternative that's filled with hope and encouragement. And unless religion has some basis in reality, we have no basis for confidence in such a future. So some people say, well, let's just accept this story and run with it because it makes us feel better. For the scientifically sophisticated, this will always seem like whistling in the dark. It will never be satisfactory. It's a retreat into sheer subjectivity and preference. A more honest, mature approach, they believe, would be to recognize that we're simply alone in the universe, we're here only for a short time, and the only meaning our lives will ever have is the meaning we provide. It won't come from the outside. We need a stronger case for religion than mere personal preference in the face of the harsh world that science provides us. And I believe that we can find one if we look more closely at our own experience. It's faithful to the intentions of religion as well as science, and it recognizes some important differences between them. Suppose we think of religion and science as making different types of claims about the way things are. Both tell us what the facts are, but they're talking about different things. Science deals with the phenomenal world, the world that we experience through our senses as refined and extended through careful instruments. Religion deals not with the details of reality, but with its fundamental essence. It deals with what some people call metaphysics. Religious discourse involves claims that can be evaluated, that can be true or may be false, depending on what our understanding of reality tells us. How do we get to that? Well, I think we get to that by looking at aspects of our own experience. What we're trying to do here is show that there is a dimension of reality that science does not deal with, that many people overlook who are so impressed with science. There are things in our experience that come and go. Sometimes they're present, sometimes they're absent. We have words for things like that, and our language is well suited to deal with them. But there are other things in our experience that never come and go. They're always here. They're a part of the fabric of our experience. They form its essential structure. Without them, we wouldn't have any experience at all. If that's the case, if there's a dimension of our experience of things that's always there, that's permanent, then I think that's a good place for us to look for the reality of God. When we talk about God, we're not talking about some detail of reality, some mere fact. We're talking about the nature of reality itself. When we talk about the meaning of life, we're talking about things that don't come and go. We're talking about things that are always there. So, we're not talking about the sort of thing that science deals with or that science is capable of dealing with. So the question is whether or not it makes sense to talk about things on that level. And I believe that it is. I think we can see what these are if we notice the limitations of science. There are some things that science just doesn't deal with. For example, consider the demand for evidence. Okay. We want evidence that certain things are true. In some cases, our situation does not give us the time to accumulate evidence, and we must still make decisions. In other cases, the demand for conclusive evidence is impractical. We drive the highways of this country without undertaking an exhausting evaluation of other people on the highway. How do we know that our automobiles are completely safe every time we step into them? Well, common sense is a realm where we simply operate on assumptions that we all take to be true. There are even times when the demand for conclusive evidence is destructive.